good day to you all on this wonderful, magnificent day. I wanted to make a video talking about self-awareness. As I was talking with this girl that I met on Hinge, and I was telling her about how I analyze like every conversation, every interaction, every encounter that I have with people, and she was telling me like the world would be a lot better place if more people were able to do that like self-awareness, self-analysis aspect. So I want to let you know that the way that I've done this, and maybe you can do this yourself as well too, is basically, dude, I also kind of fucked up my knee, I think, the other day. I don't know, it's weird. Like when I lay down, my leg's all sore and tight, and it's been like excruciating trying to sleep. But then when I walk, there's no pain whatsoever. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense to me, but there it is. I don't get it. I really don't. But the way that I've been able to understand my self-awareness and be able to analyze and like improve myself is I have two ways of looking at it. So I'll replay the day in my head, or if the following morning, depending on if I didn't have time to do it the night beforehand, and I'll replay it in two different ways. One is from like a third perspective point of view. So like if you ever played, let's say like Grand Theft Auto or Legends of Zelda or something like that, and there's a third person point of view, like where you're watching above yourself as if you were that character, compared to like a Call of Duty or an FPS where you're just like in the first person point of view. I do both of them. It depends on the situation that I'm at, because sometimes I'd like to be able to like observe myself observing the scenario and see how that ended up working out. And then the second way is like, well, how would I replay this scenario as if I was in the first person position in the way that I wanted it to happen, or whatever it may be. And I've done this multiple times over and over again. There's a story a while ago where it was once I got one of my promotions, and this is the crazy part when you start to do this like self-analysis stuff as well too, like either in first person or third person, you can start to create your reality in a new way. You can start to manifest certain things. So there's a scenario where I was out drinking after I got a promotion, and I really needed to go to the bathroom, and when I was like, there was a really long line, and I was like, dude, I don't want to have to wait in this long line, like I really have to go. So I do what I do, and I just asked the person in line that was there, I was like, hey, do you mind if like I just piss in the sink or whatever it is, like will you go to the bathroom? The dude was like, no, like that's just weird. But the girl behind him, she's like, yeah, no, you can come in and join me. I was like, okay, like that's cool. And I just pissed in the sink. She was going piss in the toilet right next to me. I was like, all right, like sure, why not? And I didn't do anything after, like with her or anything like that. I was like, I just need to go take a leak. And then one of my buddies, he told me afterwards, he's like, women don't just like do that. Like you very well could have hooked up with her, whatever it was, because she like invited you in. She extended the arm. I was like, interesting. I didn't even think about that. So then I replayed that scenario in my head to play it out in the way that I had wanted to. And then a couple weeks later, whatever it was, might have been a little bit longer, then that said scenario ended up happening, where I did meet another girl at the bar. We did end up like doing things in the bathroom. It's kind of crazy, a little interesting, but like these are things that I've realized and come to notice about myself and the world around us, is by replaying the scenarios in our minds and the ways that we want to replay them in, then those scenarios start to happen that way eventually, because you re-changed the perspective or the story that you told yourself in the first place, and then that made it possible for you to analyze yourself from a new angle, from a new perspective. So those are my two ways that I would recommend, like reanalyzing yourself. Like even the other night, whenever I have conversations, I'm like, okay, well, if I said this in a different way, like let me observe myself from the third perspective. Okay, how would I act? How would I stand? Where would I walk? Who would I talk to? What things would I do? And then I would just go off and do those said things. So if you're able to analyze yourself and view yourself from an outside perspective, I learned this from actually a while ago, from like talking with women, like when I would go out and try and hit on them, and I was like in the whole pickup community, not a great community to be a part of. In the first place, they can teach you like confidence in certain things, which that can be of benefit to you. The thing about that is, if say you're in this scenario and you're watching the whole world around you, like just to imagine that you're detaching yourself from like the outcome, because if you can detach yourself from whatever it is that you have going on, then technically, like if you think about it, nothing anybody does, says, or acts upon you can ever harm you in any way, shape, or form, because you've detached from that said outcome by using like your third perspective point of view. And then your first perspective point of view is there if you need to look at it from the direct angle and feel that said feeling, because you just want to review that and have that thing happen again in the new way. These are just small little subtle things that I've found that have helped me out in my self-awareness and my understanding of myself. And some people will try and bring us down, but we don't let that happen no more. We don't let that happen anymore. We just don't. We just keep moving forward and doing the best that we can and shine as bright as we are. So if you made it to the end of the video, click that subscribe button, share it with a friend, like it just for the sake of liking it, so I know that you made it to the end of the video, and I'll chat with you tomorrow's video. I guess also just leave a comment down below. Is like, where do you stand on like a level of 1 to 10 on self-awareness? Do you stand in the point of like, I do analyze myself from like the first perspective, or have you analyzed yourself in like a completely different way of maybe like journaling or videoing or just meditation? Like, what other ways have you been able to come to your self-realization or your self-awareness? Because if you could let me know, I'd love to read your synopsis or ideas on that as well too. And yeah, with that being said, I'll see you tomorrow.